Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this special Friday edition. I am super excited to introduce my guest to you today. She is a singer, songwriter, storyteller, author, tireless advocate, and humanitarian, and I would say definitely one of the most unique artists to come out of Canada. Please welcome Biff Naked, everybody. Biff, hi.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Well, I'm happy to have you here, and especially you're in your car, and I understand you're just kind of bustling around in between appointments. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
It's not my car, it's Snake's car. My car died. So I had a car and it died. I don't know if you're
Oh
familiar with
no.
Toronto. We've been living in Toronto for a couple of years from the West. So we're like, the West kids in Toronto. And my car died on the freeway. It just died. The hose
No.
blew, flooded the engine with water everywhere, and it literally stopped. The car just stopped while I was driving, and that was it. It went to heaven, and so I'm actually in my guitar player Snake's vehicle. I am parked, everyone. I am parked. I'm not driving currently,
Just
but he's a Jeep owner. I don't know if you know anything about Jeep culture, but people in Jeeps are waving to me, and
oh, so it's like a
I feel
thing. It's a
bad because I don't know what's going on. I think that like my hazards are on, or I'm driving with the parking brake on. I don't have any idea. And they're doing the wave. They're doing like I don't know what they're gang signs, some Jeep wave. And so I want to
here's an
apologize
idea.
to all of them that I haven't waved back. By the time I realized they waved at me, I'm like deer in the headlights.
Here's an idea. Do you think they're waving at you because you're Biff Naked? It's just a thought.
That never occurs to me. Not
Honey, is
ever.
that
Even
Biff
when I'm
Naked?
the designated person. I mean, we're in a pandemic. For the last year and a half, there's only one designated person that does the groceries, and in my house, everyone, guess what? That's me. And so I go in with my mask, and I'm the designated person. It does not occur to me for 1 second that I am Biff Naked buying eggplants and buying oranges. It never occurs to me. I know all my checkout uh, girls. I know all the produce girls in my grocery store. Half of them don't know I'm a singer.
Is that right?
We're just talk about our dogs.
Perfect.
Yeah,
It makes it easier, I'm thinking, if you're just in to get your groceries. Sometimes you just want to get in and out, I'm sure. And
it is so funny. Yeah, it's been. But I mean, I'm sure you can relate. This is our pandemic life, and obviously, Alberta is in the news right now.
I know, I know.
We were in the news. Hey, I've been in Ontario for over a year. This has been in the news for us out here also. Um, what can you say? All we can do is stay healthy and keep doing what we're supposed to do. That's all we can do.
I would agree with you, Biff. It's all we can do is do what the health officials are suggesting we do, whether we kind of like to be told what to do or not.
Yeah.
And just hope everybody jumps on board. That's a sticky topic, though, and it's really making people become very divisive with each other, and the
Yes.
comments on Facebook, and it's just yeah, it's trying times for sure. But
Well,
one
because
thing I'm
it's
really
scary.
it is people are
And we
afraid.
hope, and like we were talking about before, these shows that we're coming to do, they've been postponed 3 times.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I watch the news every day, and we're like,
just like
please,
yeah,
please,
yeah, just
because we're
yeah.
we're huge Buck Cherry fans, obviously, and we're huge fans of coming to play for everyone. So, we love Calgary, we love Edmonton, we love Red Deer, and we love Lethbridge. Um,
Oh,
and
good.
we
Well,
would, yeah, we just want to play.
that's really right. You just want to do what you do, and we need
Yeah,
music more than ever right now. Like we
I think
need
so
to
too.
so badly, and for shows to get canceled, it's taken a toll on people.
Yes,
Artists
and
they
all
want to
the
see us
venues and the poor venues.
right,
Yes.
everybody, right. And so, of course, as we just mentioned, Biff Naked has a show this weekend in Calgary, at the Grey Eagle Casino. That's Saturday, correct?
The 7th.
Okay, the 7th. So Thursday.
The 7th is
7th is
Thursday.
and one thing I want to tell the fans, because I have a lot of Calgary and Lethbridge viewers, make sure you bring your passport to the show or you will not get in. Because some friends and I were at April Wine a couple of weeks before that at the Grey Eagle, and this was 3 days before they were putting in the new vaccination passport restrictions, and they
Ah,
still held fast to that, and people were not getting in because
I
they thought
see.
they had until Monday.
Yep.
So just a word to the wise out there: when you go to see Biff, bring a negative test or bring your passport.
Yeah, and we travel with both. Out here in Ontario, we don't have passports yet, if you can believe it. So we travel with our like printouts and hope for the best. But obviously, the band is not allowed to perform. We're not allowed to travel. We're not allowed to work unless we're double vaccinated, which we all are. And
Perfect.
what can I say? It's a brave new world, and we're just living in it.
That's right, eh? We're just trying to get through one day at a time. And we have a lot to talk about today, Biff, because you are a fascinating human. You really are.
Aw,
And you are living an extraordinary life. And
I think
so
everyone does.
I think what, I would agree with you on that too, Biff. Everyone has a story, you
Yes.
know, and everyone has they might not think their story is particularly fascinating, but to other people, I think, by nature, we're just interested in people's stories, and you definitely have a fascinating one. And first of all, can you tell us where the name Biff Naked came from?
So Biff is a nickname that I've had since high school. And
Right.
it was just because a classmate's cousin mispronounced my name, which is Beth. And he kept calling me Beth, 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 Beth. And then I think it was around the same time, um, Back to the Future was coming out or something like this. And everyone started calling me Biff. And it just kind of stuck. And Biff Naked became my stage name. Um, One of the first shows I ever did with this band that I played with called Jungle Milk. They were a world music
Great name.
band made up of lots of different drummers and singers and activists and really interesting people and punk rockers. And all the guys that were in punk rock bands had really interesting and memorable names like Mark Arm, Joey Shithead, Chai Pig, and so, what could I do to set myself apart? And at the
Right.
time, it was really important to me to be very provocative because I was a young girl and I wanted to be very provocative. So Biff Naked basically was my stage name.
Well, it's an attention grabber.
Yeah,
I
now
think,
I laugh. Now I laugh, of course. I always laugh at my younger self. But yeah, and it's stuck.
and it's a great name. It's cheeky and it's fun. And I tell you, if you see that up on a marquee, you're gonna go check it out. You want to see this naked Biff girl.
That's right. Oh yeah, no pull.
Yeah. So, Biff, you come from interesting and humble beginnings, which you talk about readily. Do you want to take us back a little bit? I just always like to get a bit of a backstory on an artist and where they came from and how they started. And could we go there now for a bit?
Oh well, I'm just a regular kid. I was adopted, which is something I've known since I had my earliest memory. My parents were living in India and working there, and they adopted my older sister a year before me. And because my dad used to tell the joke that he was pegged as a sucker because he already adopted one kid, he got contacted about a year later that there was a Canadian baby being born. This is in India. There's a Canadian baby being born, and are they interested in taking this Canadian baby? And so, they hemmed and hawed. He always laughs and says, we told him if no one else wants the baby, we'll take the baby. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And if I was born a guy, they were gonna name me Todd. And if I was born a girl, they're gonna name me Beth. And so Beth wound up being my name. And there was no paperwork for me. The white couple was handed the white baby from the hospital in New Delhi, and that was it. And as a result of not having paperwork, they couldn't get me out of India for. Um, it was a lot of trouble. It
I
was a
bet
lot
it
of
was.
trouble, but somehow it worked out. And what can I say? These are the 70s or whatever.
Things were
So
different.
I've always grown up knowing I was adopted. India has remained a prominent thread in my life, partly as what my parents instilled upon us, which was a birthright, basically, and partly cultural, because my parents wanted to keep it alive
Right.
for us as we grew up, and not simply just impose Christianity on us or whatever the case. And I think that I had a pretty normal upbringing. We moved to Canada a couple different times in my dad's work career. He was a professor of dentistry and worked in teaching in the Paw, Manitoba, and then worked in Dauphin, Manitoba, and then eventually found his way to Winnipeg in time for me to go to my first Iron Maiden concert.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was fantastic. And then I went to high school and went to University of Winnipeg miraculously because I was a runaway. Don't know how I wound up graduating from high school, but I made it. And dropped out in my first year, joined a band, and went on tour. I'm still on tour. I've never gone back to school. I've always wanted to. And now I always think, oh, maybe I should have become a nurse. Now everybody needs nurses. But I like singing too much.
And we need music too, Tiff. We need nurses, but we certainly do need music for our mental health. And
Yeah,
so was music something you knew you wanted to do, like from a young age, or
not at all. I wanted to be a
is that right?
ballet teacher when I was a little kid because I was in ballet. I admired all my teachers. Those were my primary role models.
Right?
And eventually I got into acting in drama class in high school, and I attended University of Winnipeg with every intention of going into acting. I took theater as my major, and somehow I just fell into being in a band because the guys were hot and they had mohawks. Literally, that's it. No training, just hot
Bad
guys.
movies.
Hot guys on skateboards dragged me
Right.
into being in a band, and it was such a good fit for me. I had an outlet for my writing, for my lyrics, and an outlet for being political. And it was punk rock. It wasn't like I was trying to, you know, do really difficult, R and
Right.
B. I
Right.
didn't have to have too much training. I didn't have to be a good singer. I just had to be loud, confident, and a hard worker.
And you
and
know what,
that,
you have to
that's
have
it.
presence. I think that's a huge part of especially the punk rock movement is presence. And you certainly have
Thank
that.
you.
You certainly
Thank
have a
you. I,
presence
I
about
love
you.
it, and I still love it. I love performing. I love being on stage. I've been very, very, very lucky over the years. I mean, I kind of grew up in the Canadian rock scene, and my fans grew up with me. We're all
Right.
the same age now, and we laugh. I mean, I do acoustic shows with Snake, and we do book readings and stuff like that. And the entire audience is made up of, you know, girls that look like me, except, they have kids at
Right.
home or, whatever the case. They drag their husbands there. And we just have a laugh. We have a riot. And all of us feel the same way. We feel exactly in the head like we did when we were 25,
Right.
but time keeps marching on,
It
and the world
does.
keeps changing, and our bodies keep aging. And one of my friends who was 4 years older than me in high school, who is now obviously older, says, all I have to say about life is aging sucks. I'm like, awesome, dude. Like, really? Do we really? We know. We don't care. We're going to be
Does
like,
it though? I don't know. I think the alternative is worse. Just saying.
well, yeah, and I have fun. I mean, the truth is, I think that no matter what age you are, basically your character is always going to be the same. We're always
Right.
going to be the same people we always were,
Up
and
here.
uh, and there's something kind of fun and funny about that, especially for us, Generation X, easygoing, kind of cynical, old skateboarders. We laugh at ourselves.
Right. I think I love this conversation because I think how, because I'm getting on in years too. And, I spent a ton of years on the road, when I was young being wild and crazy. But, I think the beauty of this time now is that, like, you know, 40 is the new 30 and 50 is the new 40. And now you don't, you know, you see women, you know, in the second act of their life, like starting these amazing new adventures and trying all kinds of new things. You know, for those that have kids, their kids are grown and now it's their time again.
That's right.
Uh, and it really is an amazing time. And I think especially for women.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean,
Yeah,
you can look at, and I always, you know, our benchmarks for our generation of girls was always L7, who are like, they were older than us. We looked up to them, and
right.
Gwen Stefani,
Oh, yes.
right? And I mean, she looks better now than she did at 30, and
Right,
and living the best life, you know. So I think that, you know, the game has changed. I
for
think
sure.
that, you know, when we were when we were all, you know, 20, we thought it, you know, being 30 and 40 was old. And then when we were 30, we were like, oh, being 50 is so old. But it's like, yo, dude, L7 is on tour. Okay,
Yeah,
they're still
right.
on tour. The Luna Chicks are on tour, and they those
Mhm.
girls were always older than us. So I think that it's just different now. And I think as the generations move forward, I mean, yeah, it what constitutes age and middle age has shifted in a way. People live longer. You know,
For
all the
sure.
skateboarders we know, like, you know, Tony Hawk and those guys. How old are those guys? You know, like look at
Right?
Kiss. I mean, Kiss is
The
70,
Stones. Yeah,
you
and
know,
they're
and
still out there
it
doing
doesn't
their
really
thing. And
matter. You know, it doesn't actually matter.
right.
Yeah, it's
And I
kind of
think
neat.
and I think also if there's I think there's gifts that come with getting older too, like especially for women, you know, I don't know for myself personally, I'm more comfortable in my skin than I ever was in my 20s. I have more of a clear set direction of where I want to go in my life, whereas I didn't in the 20s.
Same.
And so, yeah, and you know, we gain that wisdom and that knowledge and that life experience, and I think it's the best time ever. I really do. And actually, we're getting a couple of comments here, so I'm going to
Oh,
address them.
cool.
Yeah. So, Dwayne Watson, who is a very good musician friend of mine, is just wanting to say, hey, ladies. Shauna Lorraine, who was so excited about this interview. She was
Aw.
concerned that she had to work and might miss it, but here she is. She's saying, and she has a question for you coming up here too. But she says, "Happy Friday, ladies."
Happy
Dork,
Friday.
happy Friday, Shauna. Doug Corby, who is a huge fan of the show, great supporter, says, "Hi, ladies." Clint Jones says, "Love you both." It's your stage show is amazing. Front row Biff is the best. The
Oh,
comments
that's so
are just
nice.
flying in.
So nice.
So yeah, so there's a lot of people on board that were really excited about this show today. And
Awesome. Awesome.
you know, so you wear a lot of hats, Biff. Like you know, you are an artist and a songwriter and a singer, but you're also an author. And in
Well,
26,
yeah. I mean,
you're an
I think
author.
everyone's an author. You know, if you
Right,
can, everyone can. And plus, nowadays, just like making your own records, you can self-publish your own book.
right.
And like you and I were talking, everyone's got a story that's important. Um, Writing a book was hard. I do things by hand. I like writing by hand.
Wow.
So it was a really long process. And then to work with an editor from a big fancy company, that took 3 years. And that was
Wow.
a that was a different process.
Ruh-roh. Biff's on her phone, so we're going to assume that she will come back here at some point. Maybe not, but I'm going to I'm going to bring up a few more comments while we're waiting, and hopefully we can get Biff back. Let's see. Bob LeMay says the video back in the day is coming to mind with the chat at this point. Doug Corby, Kelly has the best shows. Thank you, Doug. Dwayne Watson is saying that cool story, Biff. Is she back? Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, we lost you for a second. I was
I
just
don't know
reading
why.
comments.
And see, for me, your screen went dark.
Yours just froze.
Weird.
Okay, but yeah, so I was just reading through some comments. Just you know, just confidence with age. Gary Pangrass is saying, "You're right, ladies. Confidence comes with age."
It
Uh,
does.
It doesn't it, hey? And
Yes, however,
go ahead.
it also, confidence goes away with age. Last summer, I broke my wrist for the first time on my BMX. First time ever. Never broken my wrist or my arm or my leg before. Knock on wood, knock on wood. Couldn't believe it. And it sucked. It sucked. So it sucked. And I can't, and I have roller skates. I, with age comes me selling my snowboard because I was like, yeah, the breast cancer kind of guaranteed that I'm going to be like all osteoporosis and fragile. So I don't really want to be on my snowboard anymore. I think I'm cool. I think I snowboarded enough. No, I went
Right.
back and snowboarded. I thought I'd never skateboard again because I want to be careful. Yeah, no, skateboard, no problem.
just
But then
just
broke the
just
wrist.
do it. And you have been through some health issues. You are a
I think
ninja because you are a breast
I
cancer
know,
survivor.
man. I was really, I was really happy to go through breast cancer when I did, because I was young enough to, I guess, put a reality check into our generation of girls who were not doing self breast exams, and even guys. And I think that for us, I didn't know anyone that was 36 that had breast cancer. I was the only one in the room that was under 70 at that time.
Right.
Now it is so common. And I don't think it's because breast cancer is more prevalent. I think diagnostics are better. I
Right.
think awareness is better, and people are looking for it. So if I could have shared my story and contributed in any small way to a girl finding her cancer, then
Right.
I'm happy that I had it. I would do it again.
Right.
I did the chemo, I did the radiation, I did all the surgeries. I lost my hair. It was the whole thing. And I meet women and volunteer with women all the time who are terrified of doing chemo. And I just think, God, I wish I could do it for you. I wish I could be a surrogate for chemotherapy, that I could just do everybody's chemo, so that they wouldn't have to, because they're terrified to do it. I'm not terrified to do it. I don't care. I don't care. I already lost my hair. Like, who cares? It's just, it's just hair.
Right. It goes
They have
back. Yeah.
antiemetics now. You don't really puke. It's not like, like we think. I mean, not for everyone, but anyway, it was an amazing experience. I'm happy that I had it in my life. I'm happy to be alive,
Right.
obviously, but I would do it again if it led to more awareness.
Right. What a nice sentiment. And I think we grow from. I think when we go through challenges or tragedies or hard times, I think we grow. I think we come out on the other end being stronger and more aware of our sheer ability to get through the hard times. It's like, wow, I got through that. I can certainly get through this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which is, why my dad used to say that he wanted to put all his daughters in the military. He said that was the only way to teach us self discipline. But then eventually I was able to say, yeah, cancer really teaches you self discipline too. It's cool. I
Right.
don't need
And
to
it,
go
and
in
it
the
makes you,
military.
you realize how resilient you are. And my understanding is that you want to continue, Biff, to share your message. Is there a book coming out that kind of talks about the Canadian health system and the cancer navigation?
Absolutely. And it's always changing. I feel like it's the book that will never stop being written,
Right.
because health equity is such such a glaring issue to me, having gone through it and having firsthand learned what is covered by medical and what is not covered, and what families have to endure. I mean, I met so many women that had to take a bus, to chemo. I met women who were going through chemo who lived in an abusive home. I met women who were going through chemo that couldn't afford the antibiotics that were needed to keep their cells healthy enough to receive the chemo. But the antibiotics were not covered by the medical system because they did not directly affect the cancer cell. So they had to pay for that. And if you can't afford it, you just don't get it. I mean,
Right.
I could talk about it forever. It was an amazing learning experience. And I just think, um, yeah, it was amazing. There is a real equity problem in this country.
For sure.
And
For
it's
sure.
mostly, it's mostly access. to care also. The farther north you go, the more remote that you live, the less access you have. I mean, some things are, yeah, it is very interesting. And eventually my book will come out. But I keep
And
writing it.
what a great resource. And I love that you're taking your, somewhat challenging experience and you're using it as a catalyst to reach out to others and inform people, because I think it's something that people, unless they've been through it themselves, they wouldn't be informed of. So good for you for taking that and, using your standing in the music community to get the word out there. I mean, example, this show, the fact that you're here as an artist and you're sharing, one of your biggest challenges in life so that it might help somebody else. I think that's amazing. And we lost her again. I'm going to read some more comments. I'll have to repeat that to her because I think that was a nice compliment. So who do we have here? Steve Jensen is happy to be here. He's saying yay. He's also saying, I'm not sure if this is live or not. But I am glad to see and hear you. Say hi to Doug Corby for me. So hi, Doug, from Steve Jensen. Okay, clearly we've lost Biff. She is just on her show on her phone today. So I am going to get her back on the show. I am going to send her a new link. And I guess all I can do is make lemons out of lemonade, and we'll be back in hopefully 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.